Despicable. The NFL teams that passed on Shedeur Sanders for Gabriel, quarterbacks that aren't even on my radar. I don't even have Gabriel on my rankings of any kind. And the fact that Shedeur is still on the board walking into the 4th round tomorrow, it's despicable. It's crazy. It's not explainable. It's incompetent. And even some of the teams that don't need a quarterback should have taken him. And I think they will in round 4. I think round 4 might be that line in the sand where a team that has a quarterback, a legit, amazing top 7, top 5 quarterback is going to say, enough is enough. This is the best backup and value I can find. This is despicable. And I've been doing this 23 plus years professionally. I have never seen a tumble, an undeserving tumble like Shedeur Sanders is enduring right now in the NFL draft, going undrafted right now through 2 days, walking into day number 3 in the 4th round, not drafted, while some scrub quarterbacks have been taken ahead of him. I'm in absolute shock. I'm in absolute shock that we have Dylan Gabriel, my number, actually I do have him on my rankings, number 10. Number 10, my 10th ranked rookie QB that I barely put on my list is ranked at 10. And Shedeur's my number 2. We're talking running backs and Shedeur. We're talking best fantasy football landing spots for the RBs. You're looking at my number 2 running back walking into the draft. You're looking at my number 2 running back after 2 days, after 3 rounds of NFL drafting, Trey Henderson to the New England Patriots, to the moon, to Jupiter, to Saturn,
to Jupiter.
Hit that thumb up button and file on in.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live.
I'm live whenever news breaks. I'm live after hours during the graveyard shift. This is like the midnight-ish hour Eastern. We go live. We're live whenever news breaks. We're live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. And I don't want to hear the Shedeur Sanders like, he was blah, blah, blah against top-ranked defenses, or he had a bad interview, or people don't like his daddy. There's a lot of factors. There's not one thing. Every team's probably got a different look at this, but it's crazy. And Sean Payton, Denver Bronco head coach, drafter of Bo Nix, drafter of RJ Harvey.
Let him cook.
Just feel like getting a set in whenever you mention a RB in a great landing spot. Nothing gets my juices flowing. I feel like John Gruden. Nothing gets my juices flowing more than an RB. Running the ball in a good landing spot. Henderson going to New England. It gets my juices flowing. What doesn't is Shedeur Sanders getting completely spat on by the entire NFL, except for a few coaches that don't yet need a quarterback at that value. And, you know, I come in here and I'm kind of exaggerating that every team should go draft him in round 3. I'm making a point. I admit I'm exaggerating a little bit. Hard to go get him when you got Joe Burrow and you got a 3rd rounder. There's still a lot of good talent out there. I'm exaggerating a little bit. But at some point, a Sean Payton, a Cincinnati Bengals, any team, New England Patriots, I mean, they did it with Milton. At some point, someone's going to say enough's enough. Let's grab the kid. What's the worst that could happen? We punt this, selection, get a different player, let's say round 4, round 5, that we don't want, or that we want, get a different player that we like still, that's not quite the player we wanted, but we get one of the best backups in the National Football League and maybe some trade bait. At some point, it's going to happen. But hopefully this kid gets drafted tomorrow. It's despicable. Despicable. I'm ashamed of the NFL. I'm ashamed of all the teams. And you know what this reminds me a lot of? I'll show you a man's face. This reminds me a lot. It's a very, very different situation. Can anybody predict what I'm about to say? This situation reminds me a lot of the way the NFL acted as a sum total group when a certain quarterback was franchise tagged with a 2 first-round tender, and not a single team came a-knocking, and I was absolutely blown away. My prediction was wrong. My prediction was that at least 5-6 teams were going to jump to the opportunity to go get Lamar Jackson on a franchise tag at the cost of 2 first-rounders. What the hell is 2 first-rounders when you're talking about Lamar Jackson? I was wrong. I wasn't wrong in that he was worth it. We know we know he was worth it. Why did NFL teams do this? Why did all these NFL teams that needed quarterbacks walk away from the opportunity to get Lamar for 2 first-rounders? It didn't make a single bit of sense. It doesn't now. It didn't then. I think if we could get in a time machine and go back in time, you'd have handfuls of GMs, even with good quarterbacks, that would surrender 2 first-rounders for Lamar Jackson. And I'm not even the biggest Lamar Jackson fan in the world, but I was sitting here screaming at the top of my lungs during this situation. This reminds me so much of it. It's different, of course, and this was a franchise tag, of course. I'm not a moron. I understand the difference. Hopefully you do too. But the fact that the entire league essentially blackballed him and didn't want him to go and get his contract, he was representing himself. There's similarities in that teams were not happy that he was representing himself. His mom, I guess, was his representation. IP says Shedeur is not Lamar. You clearly don't know what you're watching right now. You don't even know where you're at. You're not even listening to what's happening. You're just typing. Like, take a step back and try and understand what I'm saying. Because what does this even mean? Shedeur is not Lamar. What does that have to do with anything? What does this have to do with anything? Are you even paying attention? Are you even paying attention? What a fail. Okay, back on point. I don't know what in the hell he's talking about. Back on point. Lamar Jackson pissed off a lot of teams. Lamar Jackson didn't want to use an agent. Lamar Jackson wanted a big contract. Lamar Jackson just saw Deshaun Watson recently get a bunch of guaranteed money. Teams didn't like this. So did they band together? How did it work? We don't really know the inner workings of how this went down, but it was a despicable situation where Lamar Jackson was essentially not given the time of day. I don't know how it happened. I don't know how you collaborate on this type of thing. I know some of it wasn't. You'd think one team would break if there was some sort of grand conspiracy going on. So I don't think it was a grand conspiracy where all teams were locking arms, but it was a collective group think where the NFL was just allowing this man to be to sit there. He could be had for 2 first-rounders. Teams could win championships. You could win a Super Bowl. A team that needs a quarterback could have won a Super Bowl. It's very similar in a very different way, as I said. Don't listen to IP. He doesn't know what he's... I mean, I don't think he's watching the right show. I think he's typing in the chat watching some of their show. Sanders, there's no rhyme or reason to why a team wouldn't take him like the New York Giants, like the mother-freaking Raiders, like the New Orleans Saints. Shook, maybe you like Shook more than this kid. I don't know. I don't. But I could understand it, maybe. It's weird. It's not correct. I'll tell you it's not correct, but I at least understand it. I don't understand a Dillon Gabriel selection by the Cleveland Browns. Unbelievable, ridiculous type of stuff going on in the National Football League. Let me pull up the draft tracker right now. Let me look by prospects. Let me sort by quarterbacks. Let me read off the quarterback landing spots right now. Dillon Gabriel. How in the hell This kid got drafted before Shedeur is beyond me. How the wide receiver Tesla got drafted before Shedeur Sanders is beyond me. The Cleveland Browns drafted Dillon Gabriel with the 30th pick in the 3rd round over Shedeur Sanders. Jalen Milroe, I understand. I like him a lot. That was a great pick by Seattle.
Let him cook.
That was a great pick by Seattle. This gives JSN security. I love that pick. Look, Shuck, it's a weird pick. It's not the worst pick in the world, but pick 8 in round 2. Shedeur can't go at pick 32 in round 3, but Shuck could go in the top 8 in round 2. That doesn't make sense. You like him, I get it. Jackson Dart going pick 25 in round 1. You like him more, that's fine. But I still disagree. And there haven't been a ton of quarterbacks. Cam Ward went, Jackson Dart, Shuck, Milroe, and Dillon Gabriel. But guys, how in the hell does a wide receiver who I think could be worth grabbing late in a draft? I don't mind him. He's not a bad player. I'm not saying he doesn't belong in the National Football League. But how do the I guess you could say joke of the Detroit Lions decision-making group, now that you don't have Ben Johnson in town, how does this group of suits and decision makers draft Isaac Tesla so early, but a team can't draft Shedeur Sanders? Milroe falling as far as he did versus Isaac Tesla going 3.6. How does Milroe go later than Isaac Tesla? This is so wild to me. And dare I say the Lions should have been a team to grab Shedeur Sanders or Milroe, because they've got a guy named Goff that could turn back into a pumpkin now that Ben Johnson's not around to tie his slippers. This is wild to me. I lost my mind tonight. I don't even know if I'm really here anymore. I'm on like 2 or 3 hours of sleep in 2 days. I've been cranking out videos like a madman. I've been live streaming like a monster. We did a 5.5 hour live stream yesterday. We got off a super long live tonight. I've been cranking out video after video in conjunction with that. I'm on 2 or 3 hours of sleep, and a guy named Tesla got drafted in the 3rd round, at the top of the 3rd round, and Shedeur Sanders is going to be available still in round 4. This league has lost its mind. Let's get back to running backs. Let's get back to positivity. Let's get to the man known. Actually, let's go to the board. Let's go to the board and let's start ranking the top running back landing spots coming out of round number 2. I think Genty, we can all admit, is by far and away the number 1 overall rookie running back, without a hesitation, without an equivocation, without a stutter. He's number 1, and that's a tear break, ladies and gentlemen, if I've ever seen one in my life. But guess who's hugging that tear with his kung fu grip right on the tear, just sitting there saying, let me in, let me in. This man, he says, I want to be in this tier. I can do it. This is by far and away my number 2. You can say, Smitty, how do you say far and away? How do you say far and away? Where'd I drop my cap? How do you say far and away number 2 when we got Judkins over in Cleveland? You got Johnson in Pittsburgh. You've got Harvey. Love the Harvey pick by the Broncos. Doing it live.
Let him cook.
No, Hampton needs to be on here too. I haven't put them all on here. I just threw names on here. Hampton, he's going to be 3rd. Where's my boy Hampton? I do like Hampton a lot. I just don't love his now situation, but he's going to rank 3rd regardless. Where's my Hampton graphic when I need it? There he is. These are not in order yet. Just so happened they were in order there, because I grabbed those graphics first. I don't think there's a tier break between these two, but let me just speak on one at a time. Let's talk about this man right here first. Let's talk about how this guy goes to a New England landing spot. Let's put the landing spot right here. New England. LV. New England is a crafty landing spot that's been supporting solid running back play for a while. It got off course because there's been a lot of I don't know, it's a mess. It's a mess over there. You got a lot of building and rebuilding to do. You got coaching changes. You've got incompetent Mayo coaching situations going on over there for a little bit. And now Vrabel comes in to clean it up. And I think Vrabel's the right coach for the job. I think I questioned a little bit on day one the direction that they took the draft, because I thought at the end of the day, and I still believe this to be true, even though I love Henderson, at the end of the day, Genty here in a second-round offensive lineman would probably be better than Campbell and Henderson. But it's debatable. It is debatable because Campbell could be that good. If Campbell's that good, then it becomes a whole different thing. We look at where Hendy was taken at 38 overall. You had a potential, to maybe not get the guy you wanted, and you love Hendy so much. He fits your offense, what you want to do. It makes sense. I'm fine with it at the end of the day. And then when they go and get Kyle Williams, one of our favorite wide receivers from the deeper variety, Savion Williams, Isaiah Bond, who has yet to be drafted yet, Luther Burden, who the Cleveland Browns just kicked in the sack. The Cleveland Browns just kicked Luther Burden's fantasy value right in the sack. Henderson, Kyle Williams, like him a lot. Sleeper. T. Higgins potential. Truly, he has T. Higgins upside. That means he's kind of floating around the bottom end of the wide receiver ones to the point where maybe he's never really a top 11 or 12 guy, but he's like 12, 13, 14. He's arguable. This is T. Higgins. T. Higgins is fine. The Patriots would have loved T. Higgins. They would have definitely treated him like their one. So this is fine. Could he be better? He could. But I'm just saying your expectations should be safe and your high ceiling expectation. I'm not saying his floor is wide receiver 13 or 14 or whatever. But his absolute ceiling expectation should be like top 15 wide receiver, breaches in there a little bit, right? Could linger in there in the top 15, and then you hope for more. But that's your ceiling, like shatters the expectation ceiling level. And of course he could bust. They could go all the way down, his floor could be anywhere. But when I look at this landing spot of Trey Henderson in New England, and I see Kyle Williams, and I see Diggs. Diggs now fits a lot better for me in this system because they got their guy. They got a wide receiver that can develop as the one. I like this a lot. I'm feeling very, very good about this situation. Vrabel handpicked Henderson. This is Vrabel's guy. Stevenson is not. I know Stevenson got an extension, but it's essentially Travis, isn't it like a 1-year deal essentially? What is the Stevenson contract? They did give him an extension, but a lot of these times, Ramondre Stevenson contract. A lot of these things they're front loaded, and the extension makes people think he's there for the long term. It's something where there's a potential out in 2027, but the dead cap is only $3 million. Yeah, this can be a 1-year deal if they want to let him go. And basically, even though he's unrestricted free agent in 2029, it's a team-friendly deal so that if they love him and he's producing like a monster, then they can keep him. But if they don't like him, they can cut bait very quickly. So the potential out in 2027, really, it's not really 2027. It's the dead cap hit of $3 million. The $3 million is nothing. They could cut him next year if they wanted. I'm not saying they need to cut him either. I'm just saying this is not a big commitment. And they can trade him, like Travis said. That's a good point, too. This is not a big commitment at all. There's no commitment to this guy. They have no sort of like, oh, we paid him big bucks. Not really. This is not a big deal. It's a $9 million average salary, the bonus, all that. 2025, he's getting I'm sorry, his salary, his base is 2.7 million. Got a signing bonus of 1.6, already paid, not a big deal. Roster 900. This is not a big contract whatsoever. So if they want to cut bait next year, big deal. 3 million hit, that's like dropping loose change on the sidewalk for a team. Not a big deal at all. Henderson is the guy. The investment, the draft capital. What's the most important thing about the Trey Henderson situation? I'll tell you the most important thing. Draft capital. Hendy going 38 overall guarantees the mindset of the New England Patriots staff to hang with them through thick and thin. That's why you hear someone say, if you've ever wondered, what the draft capital? And you're like, dude, if the guy's good, he's good. It's true. And Kyron Williams is proof of that. When you're good, you're good. When you've got the acceptance and love of your coach, it doesn't matter where you were drafted, but where it becomes important is when you haven't earned that respect or value yet. And you get injured in your rookie year. Well, Henderson's got packaged in leeway to have ups and downs, no matter what happens. If he gets hurt in week 4, misses 4 games, he comes back, he's probably going in the lineup. This is the way it works with draft capital and with coaches and commitments. If he's a 4th or 5th round pick, he gets hurt, they move on. That's the way it is. This is the way the NFL is. You can earn your spot as a 4th or 5th rounder. It's rare, but it's easily doable if you're a monster and you just slip through the cracks. But Hendy's 38 overall ADP almost guarantees you he's starting. The only thing that makes this different to a tiny degree with the Hampton, and we'll go over this in a second, because the first thing I know Hampton believers are going, bah, bah, bah! Smitty just said, can we use that logic with Hampton? You sure can. For the long term, you absolutely can. Hampton is in a really solid, like, I don't want to say deceptively solid, because everyone kind of sees, through the 1-year contract of Naji, but Naji's getting paid a decent amount, a lot of which is incentives, which means that mid-season, I think they could flip the switch and try and stray away from, the brass, stray away from the Naji incentives. Teams are weird like that. You might think teams don't do that. Teams do that all the time. I had we talked to Eric Davis on Instagram Live, a former 49er great, and he even confirmed teams do that all the time. Teams will not want you to hit an incentive. They do it all the time. Hampton is in good position for the long term. The problem is with this, even though the draft capital is even higher, 22 overall first round, is that Naji's never missed a game. Naji doesn't fumble not that Hampton's got a fumble problem, but he is coming out with a handful of fumbles and a perceived potential problem that he might have got over. I think he had one last year in 2024, but he's had a somewhat of a fumbleitis history. And so there's just a lot of reasons that Harbaugh would say, not yet, young man. And he's the kind of coach that would do that. And I don't know that Vrabel is going to look at Hendy, even if the draft capital is 2nd round versus Hampton's 1st round, and say like, oh, we're going to keep Stevenson on the field and you're going to learn from him. We'll unleash you slowly. He's going to have Henderson all over the field, and he's going to play the Gibbs and Breece Hall role, and he'll still use Stevenson. The problem with Hampton and Stevenson or Hampton and Naji is they're both kind of very similar. And I don't know that they're just going to say, well, Hampton, you could be the receiving. Like, it's going to have to be a rotation because they're playing the same role, essentially. I do think Hampton takes the job by week 10, and it's his. I don't think Naji's good enough, although he'll be playing in a better situation. We're judging him in Pittsburgh with a much worse offensive line and coach and everything. Offensive coordinator, everything's worse in Pittsburgh. Very vanilla offense. It's always been that way. Going through coordinators because it's so vanilla. Naji could look a lot better. Naji could look a lot better in this offense. It's just hard to trust Harbaugh. Harbaugh's a wild card. Harbaugh's the kind of guy that goes to the podium and he just rambles. It's just, it's kind of like you wake up as a butterfly and you're sitting there in a cocoon and you haven't flown yet, but you get up and you fly. And you fly and your wings fly and one of them rips off and you're like, oh, that's okay. I'll still got one wing and I'll fly. That's how I view Naji. Naji's got one wing and we'll let Naji fly. That's how Harbaugh talks. That's how he thinks. And I'm not saying he's not a good coach. I'm not saying he hasn't won. I'm not saying he can't lead this team, this Chargers team that's trying to fix the problems they had last year and march them into a playoff, streak and win multiple playoff games. I'm not saying that, but that's how Harbaugh thinks. That's how Harbaugh talks. It's 100%, 100% Harbaugh. That was the best Harbaugh impersonation you've ever had. Gump, you better call in a minute when I open the phone lines. Not now, but Gump, you better call in. You've been ignoring the show and me since you got all your predictions wrong and you lost your bet to me. And I want you to take accountability on the phone line. And maybe I'll even let you off the bet if you just admit how wrong you are. Okay, Gump, hang tight. Back to the board here. This man right here, Henderson, give him, I don't know, let's say 195 rushing attempts as a rookie. 195 times, this guy averaged, wait, Smitty, does he average a lot of yards per carry? Is he a good yards per carry running back, Smitty? I know you call him the best pass protecting back in the league, but is he a good running back yards per carry, Smitty? This is the #1 running back in college football in pass protection. So he's on the field full time. I'm not saying he doesn't rotate, but when he's out there, they're not taking him out based on, third down. He's out there on third down because he's the best pass protecting back in the league, or in FBS. And he comes in and he'll be one of the best, not the best, but one of the best right away in the National Football League at pass protection. And who are you trying to protect? Drake mother-freaking May. What did you do in the draft in round 1? Offensive line. You're protecting Drake May on the offensive line. You're protecting Drake May in the backfield. Who here, raise your hand if you think that this move was made to not protect Drake May. So if I'm telling you that the offensive round 1 offensive line draft selection was to protect Drake May and the running back second round selection was to protect Drake May, what do you think Vrabel's idea and game plan is? How about to utilize those things and protect Drake May? Therefore, Henderson's going to get the edge over Stevenson. There's a lot of rhyme and reason to this. I know it sounds like me saying, Smitty, you're making this puzzle fit perfectly because Henderson's your guy and you didn't love, Hampton as much. You could say that, but just because my bias, whatever take you think I'm bringing to the table, reeks of a little bit of convenience doesn't mean it's not right. You need to understand that. My bias against the Chicago Bears last year seemed very weighted toward the irrational. The guy never lets it go. He doesn't ever give the Bears credit, doesn't give Ryan Poles credit, doesn't give Eberflus credit, doesn't give Shane Waldron a chance. Seems kind of fishy that this young quarterback, you're not even giving him a shot when everybody says it's the best situation a rookie QB's ever been handed. And I looked biased, but I wasn't. It just seems convenient, doesn't it? I'm not being conveniently accurate here. If I was doing that, I would be out here telling you Luther Burden, one of my favorite wide receivers, would be okay in Chicago. He'll be okay. No, I put him on the Moon Man list. We took him right off. Rarely ever happens, but I can't trust Luther Burden in Chicago. I look biased at times. I assure you I'm thinking logically. This man's going to have, let's say, 195, we'll call it 195 rushing attempts, times, we'll give him 5.1 yards per carry at the NFL level. Okay, he's not going to average what was a FBS leading first place in the nation yards per carry average. My boy Henderson with a 7.1 yard per carry average. #1 in the nation. 7.1. Monster. Let's be safe. Let's not be crazy up in here. Let's give this man a 5.1 yards per carry. That gives us a 995 rushing yards. Let's give him 6 rushing TDs. Let's give this man, who I believe at the NFL level, catching dump-off passes and checkdowns from Drake May, who's going to trust him like no other, on the field all the time. Let's give him a whopping 55 receptions as a rookie. You heard me right. 55 receptions as a rookie. Let's call that, what's his yards per reception in college? Let's just go take a gander at his yards per reception in college. Do we have his totals? Oh, wait, let's look at his fumbles. We're real worried about his 0. Oh, okay. 0. Oh, okay. Hold on 1 second. Is that right? Hey, Travis, can you look for me if you're around? Did he, is this just zeroed out because their stats didn't update? Did Henderson ever have a fumble in college? Can you look and see if that happened? 27. Let's get an average here. Let's just add everything up. All 4 years. So we're going to go 20. We'll go 27 carries or receptions. 27 plus 19 plus 4 plus 27 equals 77. So 77 receptions. We'll go with 284 plus 229 plus 28 plus 312. That's 853 divided by the 77. That is 11 yards per catch. Let's give him that. Let's give him his college receiving, since he wasn't even crazy active. And remember, he shared carries. He shared carries not because he's incompetent, because they wanted to keep him healthy. And he shared carries. He shared touches with Judkins, this guy over here that we're going to talk about in a second. 55 receptions. We'll call it 55 times 11 is 605. So we'll call this, we'll just say this is, let's say it's 590. We're going to dumb it down a little. Let's call this 4 receiving TDs. So you're talking about 10 touchdowns. We'll say 590 plus 995, 1585 total yards, 10 touchdowns, and 55 receptions. That's 158 points in yardage, 55 in PPR points, and 60 in TDs. That is 273 points. 273 points. If I go look at a league of mine, did I get that total right? I think I did. 273. Let's go to the Marsman League last year. Let's go to leaders. Let's go to RBs. Let's go to 2024 stats. And let's just take a little peek at what that would have scored and ranked in running back scoring. 273 would put him at running back number 6. Number 6. Number 6. Did he ever have a fumble, Travis? Did you look? I don't know if Travis looked. I'll check. Okay, he's checking right now. He'll call in with that. This is a remarkable player right here. Let's move on to number 2 or number 3. Number 3 is going to be this man right here. Number 3, let's put him down here. Number 3, landing spot, LAC, Chargers, Hampton. I like him. I want everybody to understand I like him. I never said I didn't like him. Never. DeBalt says never fumbled. Never fumbled. Never fumbled the ball. Never. Never. Super chats real quickly, and then we get on to Hampton. Daniel says Drake May breakout season incoming. Has to be. You're protecting him on the line. You're protecting him in the backfield. You're giving him a weapon in the backfield. You're throwing to him. You're throwing to that weapon that's in the backfield. And you got a Kyle Williams sleeper receiver. 5 gifted memberships from Wheel Snipe City. Where's Wheel Snipe City been, by the way? I don't think we've seen him around for quite some time. Wheel Snipe, we need you in the building more often. And let me activate my gifted memberships. I don't think I had those up and running yet, so now they're open. I appreciate you, bro. My bold prediction is looking less bold suddenly. What was your bold prediction? And I've calmed down since. Yeah, you were a little out of control, Aaron. Not gonna lie. You were going like we'd be literally having a conversation about something, and Aaron would still be talking about like whatever, it'd be like, hey, so the sun, the sun is kind of cloudy today. There's some rain. This is on our Patreon. And all of a sudden, Aaron just comes in and goes, don't understand what they're doing. Look, New England did a great job. A minus to A. I don't even know if it'd be A plus. It might be A plus, but at least like not even an A minus, just an A draft. No minus needed. An A draft. So, Aaron, if you're worried about that, I overreacted. I think the Pats doing exactly what they should. Yeah, they've definitely cleaned it up. Even Travis was a little upset on day one because he wanted Genty. But end of the day, you got Campbell, Henderson, who we love a lot. Henderson quietly kind of wonder if this could be a neighbor's MHJ. No, I'm not saying it is. Genty's the guy. Okay, I'm just saying there's a chance in our minds we're looking at this going, well, Henderson could be, on his tail maybe. So I love Henderson. It would be one of those things where, like, what if you could press a button and swap Genty and Henderson? You do it, but part of you would be a little sad. I like Henderson so much. Part of me doesn't want to do it because I love both of them. But at the end of the day, Genty's Genty, but Henderson's a talent, man. He's a talent. Anthony says, could the Browns have drafted worse? No, absolutely not. I don't know what I trust less. Shannon Sharp picking up Miss Smitty from the airport, or the Cleveland Browns drafting an NFL team. I don't know what I would have more concerns about, to be honest with you. Thank you very much for the super chat, Anthony. Okay, so Hampton, again, for some reason people think I don't like Hampton. That's not the case. Never once did I say that. Never once have I said I don't like Hampton. I like Hampton a lot. He reminds me of JT. And you might say, well, Smitty, you don't always love JT. That's not what I mean. I love JT in his best. JT in his best day, I think, is what Hampton can be. I love Hampton. Hampton's a good player. I like Henderson more. And as I've said a lot, I always tell people that just because you think, because I like Henderson more than Hampton, that I don't also like Hampton more than you like Hampton, it blows your mind. Because you're sitting here thinking, well, if this man doesn't like him more than him, he can't like Hampton. It's just not true. I love rookie running backs. Ask anybody that's been with me for 5-6 years on this YouTube channel. I love rookie running backs so much. The crazy part is, those of you that think I hate Hampton, I like Hampton more than you. I do. I just like both these guys more than Hampton, and I like all three more than you. I'm like one-upper in here. I'll always like rookie running backs more than anybody. And that's probably true. Everyone always makes fun of me because I love rookie running backs. Hampton in LAC is going to have roadblocks that he can get over. He may get over. He may not get over right away. I think he eventually does. It's the Harbaugh effect. I've already kind of gone over it. It's the whole butterfly. You got one wing. You're going to just go on a tangent. And all of a sudden, it's like you got to use both these guys. It's like using both these guys is like having two generators. And you turn one generator on. This is Harbaugh, by the way. And it's cool. And then you turn the other generator on and it's warm. And you're like, I like feeling warm and cool. And I'll stick one hand over this generator. And I'll stick one hand over this generator. And I'll feel warm cool. And then I feel like I can spin around like a banana. And then before you know it, I'm dancing in the streets and I'm listening to music. And then that's why I want to play Naji Harris at the goal line on Sunday. That's Harbaugh's mind. I'm not saying it doesn't work or pencil out, but that's his mind. That is what Harbaugh does. Have you listened to a Harbaugh press conference lately? This guy doesn't make a lot of sense. And I'm just telling you, there's a world where this guy doesn't not beat out Naji eventually, and Naji's on a 1-year deal, and it's incentive-based, and this guy's going to probably outperform him because he's a better player, and the talent should win out. But there's a world where weeks 1 through 5 even, he could just be a little bit of an inconsistent, sort of not disappointment, just like you want more. But then keep in mind what I'm really saying. Because in best ball, that doesn't really matter. In best ball, he's fantastic. But here's what you got to keep in mind. This is Gibbs's rookie year. Not used really at all in week number 1. Not used at all in week 2. Not used really at all in week 3. Not used really at all in week 4. Missed week 5. Missed week 6. And then was an absolute straight up monster down the stretch. Sometimes it can be a blessing in disguise. Not always the best thing for a non-best ball situation, because you can lose 4 or 5 games, miss the playoffs, and then Hampton's the best running back in the league in week 7 on, but you miss the playoffs. It's just a trickier business in a non-best ball, in a home league, in a redraft league, than it is in best ball, where you can draft all kinds of Scataboos and Tootens and Harveys and Johnson, whatever. And then if Hampton doesn't do well for 5 weeks or doesn't, then it's fine. And then when Hampton does do well, your optimal scoring starts it for you, and you're balling all year. So that's the only thing that I would say holds him back is Harbaugh, is Naji, and the likelihood of this guy having a 1,000-yard season on the ground, maybe something along 300 yards receiving, maybe something along 8 TDs, maybe something around the 40 reception total. This is all possible, but his graph will probably look something like this. Week 1, week 17, and here's the graph. His production, if we call this like running back 1 to 5 material, and this running back 20, this graph right here, you're going to get like something that's going to look like this. And then when you get to, let's say, week 5 or week 6, that's when I think he takes off and starts playing like this monster. So it's this portion of the season, weeks 5, 6, 7, that I just feel are a little bit more locked and loaded. So in a redraft setting, there's more concern, but it's still not that crazy of a concern. Travis, before I move on, I'm going to probably keep you muted while I go through the running back ranking stuff, but did you, it was 0 fumbles, right?
Yeah, so just to be 100% clear, it was his first 2 years, he dropped 2 balls, he fumbled, but he got them back. And then his last 2 years, his last 26 games, he didn't even fumble at all. So no fumbles, no lost fumbles.
Yeah.
So he just doesn't put it on the ground.
One more question before I have you just sit there for a minute. When I was portraying Harbaugh and impersonating him, did you think I was actually playing a Harbaugh video, like a real video clip? I'm just curious.
It might as well have been.
It did.
Yeah,
right?
Literally just mashed together like some words and some thoughts, and then try to have someone take you seriously.
You were confused. You thought you were watching an actual Harbaugh interview. You thought I was playing it. Okay, just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, I started like clicking around looking for the right video.
I mean, it was kind of like you had the video on and you're watching it through your nose, because your nose has senses that your eyes and your mind don't. So if you watch an interview and press conference through your nostrils, you can retain more because you're in the equation.
Because it was sunny, I guess.
This guy's nut. I kind of love him. I love his press conferences, and no one's saying he can't win like this. It's just you can't. There's not a lot of predictability with him, because you don't, except for that he's going to be wild. He's a wild man for sure. And things weren't perfect last year. Let's be honest, but there's a lot of good that can come from Harbaugh's system. It's just there's a lot. Okay, so this is my number 3 running back. My number 4 running back. And this is kind of dynasty and redraft, to be honest with you. I don't think anything changes for me yet. I'll let you know if I run into this is redraft really, but I'll let you know when the dynasty angle could take hold a little bit. And remember, I'm not using I'll tell you in a minute where Scatterbo and Tootin and these other RBs might shuffle into this, but right now we're going off guys that are on rosters. Harvey's my number 4. And dare I say, this is going to piss some people off because they're going to like Judkins' landing spot in Cleveland better. But I think Harvey in Denver, and he's going to Denver. It's a great spot. Harvey he's getting drafted into a situation where he fits the starter role. This is not. I'll say this: if Henderson did go to Denver, if I'm being completely honest, because it's such a good spot for a running back, there are some concerns that Sean Payton, who does run committees, but he runs committees that we know to be Alvin Kamara committees. Like the Alvin Kamara committee, that was one of the first fantasy football committees And I remember it because I'd say he's a workhorse, and people would come at me on the channel and be like, "You're an idiot. He's not a workhorse. A workhorse is Derrick Henry." And I'm like, no. That might be your definition of a workhorse. A workhorse to me is somebody that's getting worked like a horse, getting volume hand over fist. It doesn't matter if it's rushing attempts. Did I say a running back workhorse, or did I just say workhorse? I said workhorse. Workhorse is somebody getting overworked. He's doing his job. He's all over the place. He's getting volume upon volume. Alvin Kamara is a workhorse. He's just not the workhorse that the traditional fantasy football definition applies to. The thing about Henderson in Denver that would have been a little different is that I could see him having a more of a rotation, a little bit more of a rotation with Henderson than a guy that I believe can be a grinded out between the tackle guy just a little bit more, which I think Harvey will be just a little bit more than Henderson. Henderson's Gibbs, like he can do it. You give him 10 games in a row because let's say Stevenson gets injured and he's a monster, but you don't want 3 seasons of him getting all those 2 and 3 yard carries over and over and over. Think of Achane. Achane was able to do it. Achane, once there was no other back in the backfield, Achane was the between the tackle running back. He was the dominant running back, and he had his yards per carry go down because he's not really built to be that 10 to 12 carries up the gut in the A-B gap, and then those shots on the outside to give him those big rips of 10 and 15 and some total of 100 yards by the end of the game. Henderson's very much a player that I think you're going to have in the New England offense play a whole more active role with Drake May, protecting Drake May, catching the football from Drake May. Not that Bo Nix doesn't also want that, but I believe that Harvey's going to be a facilitator of the ground game. Nix will be throwing the ball over the field, running. He's a very good running quarterback. Not that May isn't a good running quarterback. He's a great running quarterback. I just see Harvey fitting the Broncos system in a way that he's going to get more guaranteed work than I think Henderson may have. That's just my gut feeling. I think it's a good fit. I was very intrigued by the idea of Scattaboo going to this Denver system as well. I just think Harvey's a perfect fit. I think Harvey's a great fit. This is exciting. Hampton would have also been great because it's a JT between the tackle running back. Harvey can catch too, but this just feels like a good fit. I love this fit. I think we're talking like Harvey's receiving. Let me get Harvey's game logs up or his season stats. RJ Harvey 2020. Let me see. Hold on. Here's his 2020 stats. Let me put up the receiving as well. I like Harvey a lot. He's 5'9", 208 pounds. Really strong. Exciting player. Where's this? There it is. All right, here we go. His rushing. Let's see. 1577 and 22 touchdowns on the ground. Just unbelievable. I mean, his game log is just incredible. Or his season stats, year-over-year stats are just incredible. Very underrated running back. So you can see on this 2024 line here, 1577, 6.8 a carry, 22 touchdowns, a long of 80. His 2024 receiving stats, 20 receptions, 267 and 3 TDs. 5 TDs over 2 seasons receiving. 16 touchdowns in 2023 on the ground. Just a productive monster. Look at his 3-year average from 2022, 2023, and 2024. 6.7 a carry, 6.3 a carry, 6.8 a carry. It's crazy. 12.5 receiving, 13.4 yards per reception in 2024. This is a monster right here. I just think he's going to get a nice balance, but probably will be less receiving yards than Henderson will be in New England if I had to guess. But at the end of the day, I probably say that this is a... How many carries might he get? Let's call it 220?
Maybe.
205, 220, let's
Yeah,
call it
it might
210.
get closer to 200, maybe 220.
Call it 210. I think you get 4.9 a carry. That's 1029.
Oh yeah, I think you can do that.
So we'll call it 1050. 1050 rushing. 7 TDs on the ground. I think they use him a ton at the goal line. And then I think this is where it could be like a 30 reception, 240 yards, 1 TD. But that's amazing, rookie season. I mean, this could be higher. I just think he will be one of the running backs that gets over 1,000 yards rushing. I think
we just gotta hope they don't sign a Dobbins or something like that. But
yeah, Harvey over Caleb. I mean, yeah, bro, you're seeing him ranked right here. Yeah. Judkins would be my number 5. I know that's gonna piss off people that want him to be 3 or 4. There's some people that want him to be 2. I get it. 5 seems like a disrespectful. This is Cleveland. Seems like a disrespectful number for a guy that lands as a lone starter. You could say Harvey's got some competition, but not really at all. I mean, look, McLaughlin, like, what's going to happen? Nothing. No one. They don't take a guy like Harvey as high as they did in the 3rd round, and then you just don't use him. That's just not going to happen. But I think Judkins is in a clearer role, but I don't like him. I didn't like him as much as a prospect. So if I'm happy enough, and actually more than happy with the landing spots of all 4 of these 1, 2, 3, 4 ranked guys, Judkins doesn't get an advantage of landing spot. Is it a little bit better than? I don't know that it's any better. I think these are all the great landing spots. We talked about LV. New England, potentially, we weren't sure, but awesome landing spot. We knew LAC was going to go after an RB. We knew Denver was going to go after an RB. We think Dallas still might, and that's where Scadaboo might come into play. Pittsburgh got Caleb Johnson. We know the Bears might be in play for a Scadaboo or an RB in round 4, so we're going to have to look for that. But I don't think that this Cleveland landing spot gives any sort of advantage, because I love all these spots. I love them all. They're all really, really good. So these guys, just by default, because I don't like them as much, and they don't have a positional or a situational advantage at all, I'm just going to keep them here. It doesn't mean that I don't like them. Doesn't mean that I don't think Caleb Johnson could get a good run. But out of all of these running backs on screen here, the guys that were drafted, the guys that are in landing spots, these are the 2, or Caleb Johnson is the one player that has the most competition, because Jaylen Warren isn't just going to go away. That means Caleb Johnson will be very one-dimensional. He'll be running the ball pretty much primarily. Will he get thrown to a little bit? Sure. But Warren's a very good tactical receiver that they're going to use a lot. Arthur Smith is the OC, and he loves using multiple running backs. Not to mention he loves pissing you off and using the running back you wouldn't use. So it's just like Caleb Johnson's the most bland of them all and lands in the most competitive landing spot. I like it from a Pittsburgh Steeler perspective. If you're a fan, you like getting another back. But he's not going to be the highest producing back. He'll probably be, dare I say, not even 6 once Scadaboo, Dylan Sampson, Tootin, Blue, Jarquez Hunter. Who knows how many of those guys land in better spots than Caleb Johnson. Had this been a Hampton or a Henderson, I think I would have had to make my peace with it, but there would be some downsides. I think I'm honest enough, like I am with Burden. I love Luther Burden. I just put Luther Burden on the Moon Man list right before the draft. The day 2 began, and I took him right off. Like I am pretty objective. So I just don't think, I think Judkins could have, let's call Judkins a 1,000-yard receiver. Maybe even like 1,100 yards. As a rookie?
Yeah, I think they're going to work him hard.
Maybe 7 TD.
He's going to get a lot of carries.
Maybe he gets like, let's go to his college stats. Quinn, Sean, Judkins, and let's pull up his college stats. I specifically want to see his receiving numbers. His receiving numbers in 2024 were 22 for 161 and 2. Not bad. Everybody catches the ball now. You know, but I don't know that in this situation in Cleveland he's going to be like amplified in that department. You know, I think it's going to come down to running the damn ball. So do I see him pulling in like similar numbers to that 2022 line, like 15, 132, and 1? Sure. That's doable. So 15, 140, and 1 TD. So 8 TDs, about 1,250 to 1,300 yards total. It's a good season. I just think that the 1,400 and 1,500 yard backs are Genty, Henderson, and Hampton, even as rookies as possible. I don't think all three have the exact yardage I'm talking about, but two of them probably will. And Harvey could be this monster wild card. Now, where do I rank the remaining running backs that don't have homes? Which include, we've got Genty on the board, we got Henderson, Hampton, Judkins. So we're missing Cam Scattaboo, we're missing Dylan Sampson, we're missing Bashal Tootin, Devin Neal. I'm probably not going to put Devin Neal on here. Yeah. We'll see where if he goes somewhere. For me, it's really going to come down to Dylan Sampson, Tootin, and Scattaboo. Those are the only running backs that I think enter it for me now. And that changes the moment a landing spot's handed out. That's amazing. I admit that.
Yeah.
But I'm going to probably say at the end, and even like Martinez, like there's a lot of players.
Giddens, Martinez, Richard Smith, but like you said, those are all landing spots.
If let's say Dylan Sampson goes to Washington, we're gonna have a problem. Because, like, do you put him? Yeah. You put him 5, or do you put him like ahead of Harvey? It's possible. You know, I
guess it depends on what you think Brian Robinson does. How much do they use him still? What's the?
And the same thing in Chad. If you want to give me your answer, where do you put Dylan Sampson in Washington? If in Washington, let's put Washington here. Does he go ahead of Judkins? Does he go ahead of Harvey? Let's see. Let's see what the chat thinks. I'd probably say, yeah, it does depend on like the problem is the draft capital is later. And I'm not saying that's always a deciding factor, but it does mean that they're maybe not pot committed to unseating Brian Thomas Jr. or Brian Robinson Jr. So if Brian Robinson Jr. feels like, you know, this could be one of those things where it's like we're all hyped about it. We start to draft him like crazy, and then they're like, yeah, Dylan Sampson's going to be inactive in week 1. And we're like, holy shit. You know, so like I do think Washington, with this late draft capital, it becomes a little more complicated than I wish that it wasn't. Just being completely. Yeah. So I probably would say this. I'd probably say that 5 remains Cleveland, Judkins, Dylan Sampson probably does move ahead of Johnson in Washington. So it'd be like that because he's sharing carries Johnson's sharing carries all year. Dylan Sampson might be initially, but he could take over. So that's kind of where I have it. I don't think Judkins can get leapfrogged by the Washington landing spot with this late draft capital. However, let's throw Scattaboo here instead. If he gets drafted tomorrow, looks like Scattaboo needs a haircut when I overlay it like that. let's leave it. I like it. Let's say Scattaboo doesn't shave his head for 6-7 months and he looks crazy like this. Is he leapfrogging Judkins with a 4th round landing spot over, you know, or like, is it a different fit? Is it something that we feel like they're going to have to use him differently? I don't know. I think it probably stays the same. It's an upside play. It's Washington. It's later draft capital. I love it. It's probably going to stay very low cost of entry because people will be afraid of it. So I think you don't have to really reach or anything. This is like a 9, 10, 11, 12, 2.1, 1.10 in a rookie draft. You're still getting Scadaboo.
Yeah.
So I think this is still very, very normal. Who was the other running back I said? Tootin, same thing. So if Tootin gets drafted, so this is all. I think this is all staying right here at number 6. All of them ahead of Caleb Johnson, though. So that's how I feel about that. Now here's where it gets crazy. What if it is Dallas? What if Tootin lands in Dallas? Now we're going to go through all 3 of them. Tootin and Dallas. Is Tootin and Dallas better than Judkins? Can I get a vote in the chat, please? What do you think, Travis?
I don't know. I'm so torn on Devontae. I don't know. I'd probably leave Judkins there. But
okay.
Close.
So, Chad, I need your vote. Let's say Tootin's not in play. We'll put Tootin over here. What about Scadaboo? Let's say he gets the haircut. Scadaboo in Dallas or Judkins.
He moves ahead for me.
You what?
He would move ahead of Judkins for me.
I agree. I think that's what I would do. Let's put Dylan Sampson over here. Dylan Sampson, I love him. I wish he would have went last round. And I'm still very excited about him. It's not like I'm moving him down really or anything. It's just we're talking about Judkins' landing spot being great. Okay, so Scadaboo and Dallas at number 5. And Judkins number 6 in Cleveland. I agree. And this is not I would venture to say that especially people outside of our community are gonna like crap a brick over this. Like especially a passerby that doesn't watch this channel regularly. They're gonna come in and go, "What did you? This guy's stupid. He has Judkins in Cleveland. He could be the best running back in the class." I think people will be very upset with me, and I understand that. But Dallas, I really think Scat would fit that system really well. I think he would overtake really quickly. Whereas in Washington, it's just Brian Robinson's just not gonna. It's kind of like James Conner last year when Benson got drafted. I think it's very. When Benson got drafted, we got a little overzealous. We started thinking Benson's so good, he's just going to take the job. And Conner was so well liked by the Cardinals. And he didn't get hurt. He always got hurt, too. Every year he got hurt. So we're banking all these things to happen. But they just love Conner. And they're like, Benson's not going to take Conner's job. That's the way the Cardinals' attitude was about it. And I just think I could see that happening to Dylan Sampson or Tootin in Washington. And Cam Scadaboo in Washington. So I just feel like that's why I like Judkins more. But Dallas, I feel like the overtaking is pretty easy. This guy's hungry as can be. He doesn't go down. This would be a great spot. You could call me crazy to like Scadaboo in Dallas over Judkins in Cleveland, but that's why we play the game. Other landing spots could be, let's go.
Kansas City.
I think Kansas City would be the same effect with all 3 backs as we ranked Judkins over them in Kansas City. So all 3 of those backs, Sampson,
Johnson, they go ahead of Caleb Johnson.
Yeah. I think what we're doing is rinsing and repeating everything we just did.
Okay.
Where Sampson, Tootin, and Scadaboo cannot overtake Judkins in Washington, but
no.
Scadaboo can overtake Judkins in Dallas, but Tootin and Sampson might not. I think it's debatable. But KC's the same thing. I don't think I could. Judkins in Cleveland's too good. But if we say what other team is going to maybe draft a running back, the Saints could, but then you got Kamara, so that's not going to be not really that lucrative this year. You've got Houston, not going to be super lucrative right away. You've got
Chicago.
Let me see. We had a lot of trades. Let me go back to round 1. I'm just taking. My mind works this way. I love looking at the. New York Giants are still a consideration for a landing. Like if let's say Yeah, if Scat went to New York, that would be intriguing. I think Scat could go to San Fran and that's out. Like that's a cuff. A good cuff, but it's like Garendo's still there. Yeah, I think that's it. I think it probably would be maybe Tennessee.
Might be.
Tennessee and New York are kind of similar.
Yeah. Yep.
And I think that's going to be probably it. So yeah, it's interesting because you walk into day 4 or day 2. I'm sorry, day 3, round 4, and I think teams would start to scoop up these guys in late round 4, maybe round 5. But you pretty much know who's going to take a back and who's not in this upcoming round, I think. Chicago. Yes. Damn it. You're right.
Yeah.
Good call. I was leaving Chicago off. Scatterboo in Chicago or Judkins in Cleveland. Feels very close.
Is Swift still there?
Mm-hmm.
Or are they? Okay.
I'm sorry, I did forget Chicago. I think I'm blocking it out. I don't want one of these guys to go to Chicago. Chat, what are we doing here? Scatterboo in Chicago or Judkins in Cleveland? Please vote for me. Judkins, yeah.
I think I keep Judkins just because there's so many people that touch the ball in Chicago already.
I agree. So we'll do Chicago here. I mean, one can even argue Scatterboo in Chicago is behind, like, Tootin in one of those other landing spots, maybe.
Or in Dallas.
Or Scatterboo in Dallas is yeah. Scatterboo in Dallas could be better than Scatterboo in Dallas could be better than Blue or Tootin or whatever in Chicago. Scatterboo in Chicago, I could like Tootin better, and I could like Dylan Sampson in Dallas more than I love Scatterboo in Chicago.
Right.
I think that's it. I mean, I think we broke down the running backs pretty good. I'm going to do an individual video on each running back, but I think that gives a good sense of like where I view the running back still to be drafted. So that's going to make a whole new video once the landing spots are here. But I think this is a good topic, and hopefully everybody got something from it. Let's open the phone lines real quickly. Dial into the show.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
I'm expecting Gump's call. Gump is running from me. He's running from me. And I'm not even like mad at him. We dropped him from the phone line because he was telling some weird story, and I tell him to stop doing that. And then he took a real big offense to it. He missed the entire draft show both days. He wasn't here. I mean, he might have been listening. He came in once in a while, but he never called in. He's just been hiding from me because his 2 big predictions didn't go well. Oh, here's my predictions. I didn't even go through them yet. Burden to a great spot. Burden to a... Yeah, that didn't work. Stupid polls. Worst GM in the league. Washington to get one of Hendy, Agbuka, or Burden. So that did... Or Scat, so I can still keep this one. Washington can still get Scat.
Still alive.
Right, that's still alive. Shedeur to a great spot. These are wishes, not so much what I'm predicting. There were wishes. These are my wishes to come true.
Still end up in a great spot.
Yeah, so that's still available, but it's disappointing. Dylan Sampson to a great spot, still available. These weren't necessarily day 1 picks. They were just my wishes to come true. And Gumpy is still not calling in. Gumpy, I'm disappointed.
He was in the chat earlier.
Yeah, I know. I saw him. He just ran out of here. He's probably really, really scared to call in because he said 5 running backs would go in round 1. He said Dallas would get Genty. Dallas isn't even drafted a running back yet. We're going into round 4. Holes is trolling. Holes is definitely a professional troll. God, he's so bad. He's so bad. The Bears, I don't know who drafted. Well, the Bears probably drafted better than the Browns, but they're both so bad. It's unbelievable. I can't believe
that's
Hampton.
The Browns thing was just so crazy because they set themselves up. They got a boatload of picks, and they could still take Genty, and they take Mason Graham.
Mm-hmm. I can't believe some of the stuff that went down today. Chicago Cardinals did really well. Cardinals got an A draft so far. Cardinals did really well.
Will Johnson was great.
Falcons A plus draft so far. KC, you could say they. I don't mind their second, third, and fourth round picks. I'm not saying they're bad, but that Josh Simmons makes this a B draft minimum just by getting alone.
I love that.
Falcons, I think, are an A plus draft. They walk away with Jalen Walker, probably a top 5, 6, 7 overall prospect. They get him at 15. Yeah. They take James Pierce Jr., edge rusher, at 26. So they get their edge rusher. They get their other edge, Jalen Walker. Xavier Watts is, I guess that's solid. So A plus draft so far. Chicago Bears. Loveland at 10. Luther Burden at 39. Good talents. No one's suggesting that Loveland sucks. No one's saying Luther Burden's bad. Dunze's not bad. That was a horrible pick last year. And Trapillo, or whatever, Trapillo, the offensive tackle from Boston College. That's probably their best pick. The Shamar Turner pick was okay, I guess, but just what a botched first two picks, Loveland and Burden. Damn, man, I'm so pissed about Burden not going to a good spot. He's playing third fiddle. Caleb can't stay in the pocket. How's this going to work? Hospital Ball City. Self-made says Samson to the Jaguars. Well, if they were going to trade away ETN or something, maybe, but that's not a good spot.
The Jets have had a decent draft. They've only had 3 picks, but they took Membu and then Mason Taylor, tight end. And then they took a corner.
As for Shedeur, I mean, there's only a couple of spots he's going to go. It's the Raiders. It's the top spots for him to go. Cleveland's too dumb. They're not going after him. Doesn't matter. They're not going after him. They already took Dylan Gabriel. Stupidity. Yeah. It's the Raiders. It's the Steelers. And I would probably say the only other team in play, the Saints got shook. They're not going to do that. The Rams. The Rams could get.
Rams.
I think these are the top spots for Shedeur Sanders. It should be the Giants, but they took Dart. I mean, these are the top spots.
Is there any way Arizona would take him? Falls down.
What team? What team?
Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah. I would say they're more like a dark horse, so I probably won't put them on here, but like to highlight everybody, But I think another team that could be a team that grabs him would be like the Dolphins. The Dolphins and the Cardinals already have quarterbacks, but they might want preemptive
Dolphins would be
plans. I think the Jaguars would be the smartest team to double down on Sanders and pair him with Travis Hunter. It's like how you'd be a legend for that. You just would, if it worked out down the road, let's say T-Law gets injured and you're like, screw this guy. He's not going to do it. And you put Shedeur in and Shedeur blows up with his counterpart, Travis Hunter. And you got, I mean, you would be a legend for all time. I mean, it'd be unbelievable. All right. Jonathan with the super chat says Javonte or ETN in Dynasty. I'm like Travis. I'm a little torn. As much as I want to root for Javonte, you have not only the failures that he's had so far himself that we have to take, he's got to take accountability for that. We got to acknowledge it. But you also have Jerry Jones. You have injury. Does he ever, will he ever be completely the same? There's a lot of red flags. ETN, I'd say, is a little bit, just because I feel like Liam Cohen was really excited when he announced that he was, the new head coach of the Jaguars. The first two things out of his mouth were, the first three things were, something of the effect of, how do you not love, this offense? You give BTJ 10 targets a game, and we're like, BTJ 10 targets a game.
Mashed potatoes.
And then the next thing he said was, you give ETN 20 carries a game.
Mashed potatoes.
And then he said, or you give Bigsby 20 carries a game.
Let him cook.
So, he likes ETN, or he wouldn't have mentioned him first. He wouldn't have mentioned 20 carries a game. So, I'm going to go with that. But I don't think it's rocket science or any sort of accurate science at all. It's not anything you can predict with high likelihood, and maybe both of them bust, maybe both of them do well. I don't know. Who do you like, Javonte or ETN? Let's say you don't have Bigsby. If you have Bigsby, ETN. But if you don't have Bigsby, like Javonte or ETN, if you had to take a stab.
For Dynasty?
Let's assume.
I have to just take a stab. I'm biased, but I'll go Javonte.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
That might be a mistake. But.
I mean, one preseason carry could change my mind.
Yeah.
Because I'm a big Javonte guy. I'm trying to, part of me is a little scared that I'm a scared Scotty here, that I'm going to do what I did with Kyron. And I loved Kyron.
That's kind of why I said Javonte. Yeah. I did that with Kyron.
I loved Kyron more than most anybody his rookie year. And then when he got hurt, there was a moment in time where, right walking into the breakout year, we're heading into week 1. I wasn't as high on him as I should have been. But immediately jumped right back into the fold. Kyron's the bomb, bro. I think Kyron, my prediction is Kyron gets an extension, even if it's front loaded and very bonus driven, and like it kind of becomes a 2-year deal or a 1-year deal that they could take a big dead cap hit on year 2 if they had to, but it's doable. I think he gets an extension before week 1. I think Kyron Williams, and that will, unfortunately, if this happens, I'm like rooting for it because it gives me a lot of, gives him a lot of validation. It gives me a lot of pride and joy to watch, a son grow up and get the credit and overwhelming acceptance that he deserves. But then I'm going to go, shit. Now that contract, that commitment is going to make his ADP rise. So comes with a pro and a con. All right, Travis, anything else? I'm going to probably jump early because I've been live a lot today. So.
Yeah, no, I'm just going to say I'm rooting for Shedeur even more now. But I go back and forth whether I think it would be the Raiders or the Rams would be best for him. I think both places would be really good for him in the long run. I think both franchises.
Rams would be great. He's going to have to keep an open mind. Somebody said, will he accept a backup role? He doesn't have a choice. He doesn't get to decide. I don't like that. I reject your drafting of me. Of course he will. And the thing is, he's a more humble kid than people get. Like, does he talk arrogant from time to time? Yeah, and part of that is his dad, and I understand where people are like his dad makes teams weary. Maybe one team feels like that, one team doesn't. Maybe one team looks at him being arrogant in an interview and another team doesn't. I do know that sometimes he'll talk like this. He'll be like, we get doubted all the time in a family. Look at my dad, like that interview or that speech he gave at the combine where he's like, when we're not hated on, we're uncomfortable. Like, we're always getting hated on. It's a comfortable place for us to be. And he's like, if you aren't hating on us, then we're not in a comfortable place. Where my look at my dad. Everyone hated my dad. So like that didn't come off arrogant to me. Everyone else was taking that arrogant because they were looking for it. And I mean, the kid grew up in a weird situation, and he's pretty damn normal considering. Imagine Deion Sanders being your dad and hovering over you and all that, being your only coach you've ever really had, and then just having the media and people be like judging you for that. He's navigating it really well considering. And he'll fly without his dad once he gets into the league because his dad's going to be busy. Not going to have time to. It's just right now. It's like walking your kid to school for the first time. You're holding their hand. You're not leaving their side. But as soon as they walk in and you're still standing there at the window and you're waving, you do walk away, and then you don't have anything to do with the rest of the day. Like, that's what's going to happen to Shedeur in the NFL. And I think people just think that it's going to be this, like, Deion's going to be sitting there in the facility, in the cafeteria, on the field. Like, he's busy. He's not going to be doing that. It's not the why teams are not drafting him. It might be one component for a few teams. There's a lot of different things. All right, Travis, we'll see you later, bro. See you tomorrow.
Yeah, thanks, Smitty.
Later.
Bye.
Rock out. You're always calling right when I'm out the door, but I answer because you're a Mars man. What's up, Mike? What's up?
So we think about the two Iowa State receivers with the Texans.
Yeah, that's a crazy situation. The Texans did a good job bringing in multiple players so that they have the position covered for sure. I really like it. And if I'm a team, if I'm a decision maker, I'm certainly doing this kind of thing at RB. I'm doing it at wide receiver. If I'm the Green Bay Packers, I do what the Packers did. They got Savion Williams as well as Golden. So multiple teams did this. Let me put it up on screen so people can take a gander at it. So Houston took Jaden Higgins, a wide receiver, Iowa State, and Jalen Noel, wide receiver, Iowa State. Very, very good wide receivers. Very, very sneaky move. Nico Collins is not exactly a player that I think is guaranteed to get hurt, but he's also one of those players that I would not put my life on the line that he plays 17 games. So this is pretty interesting. And the whole thing about Stroud right now, same thing goes for Bryce Young, same draft class. One struggled year one, one struggled year two. It's been kind of the reverse for them. One's had a good year, one's had a bad year, one's had a good year, one's had a bad year. The goal of this draft was to walk out to protect them and support them. And both teams drafted a receiver. And I think that with Tet McMillan going to the Carolina Panthers, with Jaden Higgins going to the Houston Texans, with the Jalen Noel addition, I think this is smart for both teams to try and support these quarterbacks. Same thing with T. Law, who's also like vulnerable, in the same way. And you get him Travis Hunter. And you give him Liam Cohen. Like, T. Law should thrive. T. Law should be this year's version of last year and the year before's Baker Mayfield. That's what we probably should see. And I think he's got the talent for it. If you want to know the truth, I think T. Law's as talented as Baker now in full Baker mode. Like a year or two ago, I would have laughed and said T. Law's way more talented, but I think Baker's turned into something different too. He's a monster. But I think T. Law's got that in him. I think he could be just as good as Baker Mayfield. And so hopefully, but anyway, Stroud, I have a little bit more concerns about Stroud though, I will say. I think this helps him. I don't think he busts at all, but I don't know if he's going to be quite the quarterback we thought he would be. But maybe he will. We'll see. Jaden Higgins, Jalen Noel, Nico Collins. We'll see if they draft an RB. If they grab Scattaboo or Tootin, and I do suspect they will grab one of the top four options that I consider the top four. Let's call it Devin Neal, Bashal Tootin, Dylan Sampson, Cam Scattaboo. If the Texans grab one of those RBs, which they certainly will be able to do if they want, then Houston's really put themselves in a really good spot to revitalize and rejuvenate the momentum that Stroud once had.
And when it comes to the Packers, who do you think is going to be like the odd man out part is the receiving core that was there before the draft?
That's another one. I think they maybe trade somebody.
Doc Watson or Reed?
I don't know. I'm not sure what they're going to do. But they drafted Savion Williams and Matthew Golden. This is the Green Bay Packer wide receiver room for those that don't know. Savion Williams is one of my deep dark horse wide receiver sleepers, and he's very good sleeper. At a TCU. He's very, very Deebo Samuel like, and he's very raw. He didn't have 1,000-yard seasons. This is a guy that probably could get you like 800-900 receiving yards and like 400 rushing and like 10 total touchdowns. He's crazy. So Very, very good player. Probably what they wanted Jaden Daniels to be. Or, I'm sorry, Jaden Reed. They wanted Jaden Reed to be this, and they said they want Jaden Reed to run less this year. So that's probably why they drafted Savion Williams. He's a running back and receiver. He's crazy. So talented. I'm a little afraid, though, that he might not hit the field or something because they have too many receivers, and Wicks and Dobbs, and they've all, earned their spots. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Odd man out. I'd probably say Dobbs, I guess. I could see them getting rid of Dobbs somehow, but who knows? All right, rock out. I'm gonna go for tonight, man. I'm tired. Appreciate you.
Catch you tomorrow.
Later, bro. All right, I'm out of here. Appreciate you all. Don't forget to get on over to my thefantasyfootballshow.com. That link is in the description of the video. The link is going to be dropped here in the live chat right this very second. Here is that link right here. Do it live. Get your rankings, your bold predictions. Boom. And then also get on over to the Patreon, which is a year-round live chat group that I have that's 365, 24/7. And I basically just said, hey, YouTube live chat, everybody in the YouTube live chat, let's develop a live chat on Patreon. Cancel anytime, $10 a month. And you can just go in there and go, hey, what's up? Hey, I got a trade question. And then who's up? Oh, Smitty's there. Travis is there. 10, 15 people from Superfish is there. 10, 15 people from the live chat group living on there. And especially during the draft, Travis and I are going to try and be in it tomorrow. And that's what Travis is saying. Everyone go to the Game Day Lounge tomorrow in the Patreon app. There's a Game Day Lounge. It's that bottom one there. Game Day Lounge, and that's when like a game's going on. We're just living inside there. Did you see that play? I need another carry here. Bijan needs a touchdown. It's so packed during the year. We want that environment in the offseason too, so we're going to be in there during the draft as well. So tomorrow, hang out in there if you're already a Patreon member. And again, that link is right here for the Patreon. Do it live. It's in the link's in the description of the video. Let me see. Join the Patreon. There it is. Links in the description of the video. Don't forget to get on over to Underdog, promo code Smitty. That link is right here as well, and the link's in the description of the video. But we'll be drafting as soon as the draft's over, the Best Ball Mania opens up. So sign up now so you're ready to rumble and do Best Ball Mania. See you tomorrow. I'll be in the Patreon right now too. Travis and I are heading over to the Patreon right now. I'm going to pin the Patreon link right now if anybody wants to join. Travis and I are going to go up there and live chat right now. Jeffrey, hold on. Jeffrey's got a super chat. Jeffrey, you still here? Jeffrey! Oh, Jeffrey! My boy Jeffrey. Jeffrey, where you at? Where's Jeffrey? Okay, he's here. He's there. I see him. I see you, Jeffrey. I'm sorry I didn't see this one come in. All right, Jeffrey said the following. Trevion or Ward at 1.7. 12-team Superflex, 0.5 tight end premium. The Fools snagged the tight ends early, so value dropped. I have Dak and T. Law. Next guy has Hicks, and then I have the 1.102.2 out there as back-to-backs. Okay. Here's what I'm going to say, bro. I don't know if this is going to be the case. Can you give me an assumption here? Can you tell me what you think about this, my boy? Is it possible that your league's going to look at Milroe and Sanders the way that the NFL is? Probably, right? I think I'm trying to grab both those guys at the 10 and the 2. I mean, the tight ends, it depends who's there. I think you could trade for a tight end, an older player, like Kelsey, and just figure out how to buy somebody that's older. But I'm not passing on Trey Henderson, bro. I'm just not doing it. I've told people over and over and over that you can't just grab a quarterback, especially in this quarterback class, because you need one in Superflex. Now, I'm definitely not saying let's not solve that through other trades, but I will not force a position and draft a position. You have T. Lott too. He's not horrible. Like that could, we think he's going to be kind of revitalized. I'm taking Henderson every time. I'm not messing around with this. Oh, I'll grab a lesser player because he's a quarterback. In a way, and I don't mean this in a bad way, I usually tell everybody this, but it's not my fault that you don't have the quarterback play you should have. So I'm not going to change my evaluation. You know, I'm not going to change my, oh, I'm going to take this guy. I'm telling you who I would take. You got to find a way to get Fields. You got to find a way. Maybe you can trade T. Lott into a. It sucks that you already have Dak because Dak's a great buy low in Dynasty Superflex. But I would say Kyler Murray's very vulnerable. It's risky, but you could maybe turn a T. Lott and a draft pick into that. I mean, you might want to look into trading the 1.10 or the 2.2 with T. Lott to get Kyler, to get Mahomes, who's doubted. Can you give up a future first rounder and T. Law or Dak for Mahomes, or specifically T. Law? Is it possible to give the 1.10 and a future first rounder and T. Law for Mahomes? Like, is that even doable, or are quarterbacks untouchable? You can buy a QB if you need to. Yeah, then Henderson all the way. Thank you, Jeff, for the super chat. You're the man, the myth, the legend. See you all later. Live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, every single Monday through Friday. Additionally live whenever big news breaks. And additionally live most midnights Eastern for the Graveyard After Dark show, where we do a lot of our drafts. Deuces.
He's BTJ. What you gonna do? He's BTJ.
Thank you, Blackbeard.
Put it on you.
Blackbeard, Travis.
He's BTJ.
Dick Nasty, Space Ricky, DeVault. Thank you, DeVault.
He's BTJ. Your mama screams his name. BTJ is going to put it on you.
Hi, I'm worried William, and my mommy just warmed me up a hot pocket, and I've never even talked to a hot chick.
Thank you, DeVault, Blackbeard, Sick Nasty, Space Ricky, Travis, Kenny Powers, Vampy. Kenny Powers, Vampy, who else? I don't know. I think I got it. I'm out of here. So tired. I'm on like 3 hours of sleep in 48 hours. Deuce. Oh, double A. Where's double A been? That's why I never say double A. Where's double A been? Thank you, Blackbeard. Blackbeard to the moon. Let me start over. Blackbeard, Space Ricky, Sick Nasty, DeVault, Travis, Vamp, Kenny, Terry, double A. Did I say Kenny Powers? Where's double A? All right, see you all later.